Hi guys, welcome to a new adventure. I recently had the itch to play a little bit of modded Minecraft again after several years and started playing a little bit of TerraFirmaCraft last week and it went really well. So it might be actually an interesting idea for a smaller YouTube series. We'll see how it goes. I'm actually not playing just TerraFirmaCraft, I'm playing Auto-TerraFirmaCraft. So TerraFirmaCraft is mostly based on adventuring and survival, but in the long run gets a bit boring. It would be a lot of fun to actually automate some aspects of it, and that's why I decided to play Auto-TerraFirmaCraft, which is TerraFirmaCraft plus the Create mod. Alright, I'd say we start right away, and then maybe on my journey I can also explain a little bit what TerraFirmaCraft is and Create mod, in case you've never heard of that. Okay, so let's get started. So TerraFirmaCraft is older mod that has been around for a couple of years. I played it the last time when it was in the 1.7 version. I remember ESO had a really interesting series about it that I loved. That's how I heard the first time about it. And recently I saw that they updated to 1.18.2. So it has the new world generation. But apart from that, it's really different from vanilla. So it changes a lot how the game works. Survival is more challenging. I think the motto of TerraFirmaCraft was survival mode as it should have been. So this is something I've been complaining about sometimes lately, that in vanilla survival is a bit too easy. There's really no problem in getting food. In case you're a little bit experienced, you should not have any issues surviving in the game, because there's always either kelp you can eat or things like that. Here in TerraFirmaCraft is a bit more challenging. So crops take several hours to grow. It's hard to actually find some food. It has seasons, so in winter you can't plant crops normally, and just a lot of aspects of the survival are changed. So for example, forging tools is not as easy as just finding iron ore, smelting it, and then turning this into a pickaxe in your crafting bench. You actually have to do some proper forging with an anvil, and there's also proper blast furnaces in the game. So it's just a bit more grindy, I would say, but also a bit more challenging and interesting in the long run. So exactly what I needed, because I got a little bit bored of the survival aspect of vanilla Minecraft. Okay, but in the end, there's a lot of the content is focused on exploration, which also in the long run gets a little bit tedious. So I was super happy when I found this not too popular mod pack. It only had like 1,000 downloads, called Auto-TerraFirmacraft. It's what we're playing here. That actually combines the Create mod that I've never touched before with TerraFirmaCraft. So we can start playing the normal TerraFirmaCraft with that experience, and then later we can automate some of the more grindy aspects of it and make it a lot more convenient and play around with the Create mod feature. So I've been playing with the Create mod the last couple of days and I had a lot of fun. So it's definitely exactly what I like. Okay, so what we're doing first here is actually just collecting some of the sticks that are on the ground and some stone. There was also some malachite, that's actually copper. That's gonna be the first metal that we can make proper tools out of. But we can already start making tools out of stone. So basically in the Stone Age, if you right click on those little pebbles in your inventory, it will open this rock napping 5x5 grid. So here you can make certain tool heads. I've already memorized the basic ones, so we can make an axe out of this. That's really good. And a couple other tools would be a shovel. Lift that up. That's a shovel head. So you can combine it then with the sticks you found into your first stone shovel or the first stone axe. Also, compared to normal vanilla, breaking blocks takes a lot longer. There's also no insta mining of stone ever with tools. So something I'd actually also appreciate. And because we can use machines later to make entire perimeters or quarries and so on, the whole automation is really a focus point of the mod pack in the end. So you can do a lot of things, it's gonna be crazy. Okay, now that we have an axe, we can also chop down trees. As you can see on the top, there's a progress bar. It takes quite a while for one log, but the good thing is, yeah, the whole tree collapses. Okay, now we collected the first, logs that we can't turn into planks yet. Yeah, as you can see, the other people are also struggling. It's actually nighttime. The really good thing about the 1.18.2 TerraFirmaCraft is that hostile mobs can't spawn above ground. They do spawn, you can even see them on the journey map. They're always below ground, so you can find a lot of the mobs in caves, but they don't harass you above ground. So that's actually really, really nice. The mobs additionally can only spawn on certain blocks, so that the naturally generated blocks. You can also check with the F3, there is a block tag like mobs can spawn on like stone, gravel, dirt, and so on. So blocks that are usually places like planks later, or some chiseled blocks and so on, they are already spawn proof, so we don't need to worry about the light level. Yeah, TerraFirmaCraft is also all about realism. For example, torches, which we can make later, would also go off after a while. I think after around 4 Minecraft days, torch goes out. Okay, you can see my stone axe is already gone. Doesn't last long. That's why it's always great achievement once you get to the Bronze Age and can make your first tools that last a little bit longer, and you don't need to replace them all the time. Okay, we saw it. Somebody actually got slain by a wolf. There are dangerous passive mobs around. There's polar bears further up north. There are wolves, saber-tooth cats, and a couple more dangerous things. So the lack of hostile mobs still doesn't make it completely trivial to survive. Yeah, so in order to defend myself against any animals, I'm gonna make a weapon as well. So this is a stone javelin head. I'm gonna make 2, because sometimes you get in a situation where you would break your javelin, and then it's always good to have a second one. The javelin, is a really good weapon. It's a melee weapon, you can swing it. And you can even throw it as a ranged weapon as well. But of course, works like a trident. You gotta, if you throw it, you gotta pick it up again to not lose it. Okay, so first objective is now to explore a little bit, find food, and hopefully also a couple of the good ores. So the first thing you actually want to find, we already have a couple, is those small malachite or native copper pebbles. You can also see at the bottom, it melts into 40 millibuckets of copper. In order to make 1 ingot, which is required to basically make 1 tool head, you need 100 millibuckets or 10 of those stones. So in order to get really started, we need to make a pickaxe, a prospector pick, and a saw. So we need like 30 of those little pebbles, and then we can get started. So I made my way here over the first hill, and you can look into the valley here. So one of the first things I'm actually looking for is water, because there's actually an indicator bar for thirst. It's the blue one, and then the green one is for hunger. So we still can survive a little bit longer before we starve to death, but thirst is already down to half. There's water down there, which this is actually a hot spring water, which I think we can't drink. Can we? No. Okay, that's just hot spring water. Okay, then we need to look for water somewhere. Hopefully we can come across some. Okay, I already saw something else that is really interesting. So here we got maize. I think that's type of corn, right? Yep, that's food. We can use a knife to turn it into something that can actually be eaten. Knife recipe looks like this. Just pick stuff up and can't drop it again. Okay. There's 2 knife heads. Can combine with the sticks. And then use it in the crafting table to make mice grain. Okay, and that can be eaten. But it's not great food. Replenishes your saturation bar. But you saw my HP actually went down from 850 now to 820. Because it has a system that punishes eating the same food over and over again, because we got a nutrition bar. So ideally, you have a mixed diet and have more health. In case you eat really poorly, can happen that your max HP goes down to maybe 400. But if you eat really well, it can also be way higher. So 820 basically means 8.2 hearts. It translates like that, roughly. Okay, then we can pick up more of that stuff here. We also want to keep the seeds so we can plant more later. Just gonna turn this into grain right now. Grain is also really useful because you can feed this to animals. And then we got the second nice thing around here. This is sugar cane. So this is for paper, sugar. That's actually also really good to have sugar because this is something that doesn't spoil. I think this can be used for a couple recipes. Okay, we definitely want to pick this up and keep it. Let's collect all of this. Yeah, one of the things that's also really challenging about this is the seeds are basically non-renewable. So in case you plant the crops again, you only get one seed back. So in order to get more, you just need to do more exploring and find more in the wild. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else interesting around here. Yeah, water would be nice. I think over there's more water, but I'm not sure if this is also hot spring water. Definitely looking for some fresh water. There's also oceans that have salt water. If you drink that, it actually reduces the amount of blue bars. So this is just more hot spring water. I'm actually not entirely sure what it can be used for. When I played this last week, my spawn was way up further north. There was a lot of snow around. We didn't have any hot spring water there. But if I look at the map, there's some darker blue water. This should definitely be fresh water. It's also getting really close, so let's try to make our way over there. Oh, at first I was actually shocked to see more hot spring water, but we've got the fresh water right next to it. So in order to drink, you just need to make an empty hand and right-click it. Okay, gonna stock up on this. There's also something really interesting. It's this clay dirt. That's actually really nice. We already found clay. That's actually really lucky. So we can use the shovel. Clay is also something we need right away to make pottery, basically. So inventory is definitely a huge problem right now. I can't even make a chest because I would need to actually saw down those logs into lumber, which is the base material for crafting. So one thing you can do though is make pottery out of the clay. Basically make vessels where you can store certain items in. It also is useful because it preserves your food. It lasts twice as long in there. Okay, I think I'm just gonna mine this up entirely. Gonna need a lot of that stuff in the long run. So I mined all of the ones I could reach. The low ones are a bit tedious without aqua affinity. Yeah, don't need it that bad, I feel like. You can also find some that isn't near water. You also hear a bit of growling. There's definitely a zombie in the cave here, so we should probably leave. Ah yeah, since I mentioned aqua affinity, so TerraFirmaCraft is all about realism, no magic here, so there's also no enchantments. So here we have a raspberry bush. That's something I didn't find up north, but I think this can later provide us with food. So if we chop this down, we can place it like saplings, I think. I think also it grows a little bit. So this is good for our food bar, so we can get fruit from. What do we have here? There's a baby rabbit. So right now, mostly living the nomadic lifestyle, just roaming around now, mostly looking for a good place to stay later. There's a couple things I'm looking for. So it should be a rather flat area. There should be some trees nearby. Ideally, of course, some water is actually really important because it's gonna take a very long time until we can move lava or water. Bucket is really the end game item actually in TerraFirmaCraft. What else is important? It would be actually super nice if there would be an ocean nearby, because we can get kelp from there. There's a couple of things I'm looking for. So right now we just kill all the animals we come across. Of course, really no point killing a baby rabbit, right? Here we also got some wild green bean, so that's pretty neat. I think this is a food that I can eat straight up. Yep. This adds to vegetables. I think, yeah. Here you can see the nutrition value, saturation 2% and vegetables 1. If you compare that with the grain, this only gives us saturation, no nutrition at all. Can later also turn the grain into dough and bake bread. Then we can increase the amount of grain we have here. Okay, definitely gonna pick this stuff up. It's definitely good food for the journey, and seeds are also really important. But my inventory already is getting a little bit cluttered. Let's see how long I can keep going until I actually have to make those vessels out of the clay. There's also an interesting rock on the ground again, small bismuthinite. So that's actually really interesting metal as well, because this allows us to make the second tier of tools later. So we can make an alloy out of copper and bismuth that is more durable than the base copper tools. Okay, but first we definitely need to make copper tools. We can also mark this. So the little rocks here indicate that somewhere below there is a vein of bismuthinite. So we can also use here the journey map in order to create a waypoint. And just name it bismuth. And maybe we can come back later here in case we desperately are searching for that stuff. So right now, before we have the pickaxe and the prospector pick, there's really no point trying to somehow hand dig our way down there. I think we can't even mine the ores as well, so we wouldn't get anything from this. Oh, wild potato. Here we get really a wide range of different vegetables. Further up north, it was a bit harder. So I was really finding plenty of food here. This also spoils after a while. As you can see here, the potatoes, they last 4 more months in one day. That's actually quite a lot. Because check the corn here, that would only last, let's say, 1 month and 2 days. 1 month is 10 Minecraft days, by the way. So it has seasons. A Minecraft year in this has 120 days. Okay, so we can turn this into the grain, and it would last a little bit longer. Now it's 10 months in 1 day. Bit annoying is that those two actually don't stack, but you can combine it here in the crafting table. And then it just takes the durability of the one that expires first. Okay, but it's a bit more convenient than I have extra stacks in there. Can probably just do the same with the sugarcane. Oh yeah, one more thing. In order to make it a little bit harder, things also not always stack to 64. So certain things only stack to 16, like the logs here, or to 32. It's actually quite rare that something stacks to 64, like the clay bowl here, or also the rocks would stack to 64. I can also save a little bit of inventory space, in case I would have multiple stacks of this, and turn it into cobble. Those can stack to 32, while the rocks can stack to 64, so you can save half your inventory space this way. And I just heard something, yep, there is a alpaca, not a llama, an alpaca. Okay, since I'm really living a nomadic lifestyle, I don't want to settle down right here. I think I'm just gonna kill the animals. I'm just gonna give us a little bit of food. And really important, we get wool from this, and also some hide, which we can turn into leather later. But it's not as easy as just putting in a crafting table. No, we actually have to soak it, scrape it, soak it again, and so on. So there's a whole process that needs to be done in order to get some leather. What I'm also really looking for is an even larger animal, like a cow, that would drop a large hide, because this in combination with some thatch blocks, so those here, so you need 2 thatch blocks and the large hide, can create some sort of a bed that you can't use to skip the night, but to set your respawning point. So this would also be super useful in case something goes wrong here, so you're not sent back to spawn anymore, especially once we found a place to settle down. And we actually hit a little bit of jackpot, but also thanks to our spawn further down south, I found some jute. So when we played this last weekend, we were way further up north. There is no jute around, but this is actually something that is required for a lot of really important crafting recipes. For example, you can make a lead out of this in order to move some animals with. Later, we definitely also, instead of just killing the animals, if you maybe find some that are closer to where you want to settle, we also want to bring them to base. We need to get wool from the alpacas. We can milk the cows. There's all kinds of things we can do with the animals. The terrain can also be quite challenging in the early game because there's proper rivers and ravines that are kind of hard to cross. And what I haven't even mentioned yet is that there is block gravity in this for basically all the naturally generated blocks. So what we can't do is just make a dirt bridge because this actually collapses. This wouldn't help. This will also be challenging when mining for ores because there's a lot of cave-ins. I think the first player-placed block we can make, I think is actually, you can look it up in the book here, is wattle and daub. So there we need to take logs and combine them into wattle. So this thing here, if you place that down and add a stick to it, you can give it this shape, and then we can craft daub out of straw, clay balls, and dirt. So a good way also to get more straw is just to use a knife on the green stuff around here, the grass. Okay, then we have clay already. I think we need some sticks. Oh, I forgot the recipe. What was it again? Oh, dirt actually. Dirt. Okay, let's get dirt. Okay, then we got those bricks. And then we can apply this here and mine this with an axe, which I don't even have right now. You can make one out of stone brick, and the inventory is already completely full. Yeah, we gotta worry about this next as well. So there we go. Combine it with a stick. And what do I throw out? There's already so much stuff. Bones will be useful later. Kind of want to keep it. Just throw this out. Okay, now we have a block that is not affected by gravity, but I feel like it's way too much effort now to make a ton of blocks just to get across this, which is going to follow the river, and there's probably going to be a spot where it's easier to cross. Okay, so in order to get rid of the wattle in my inventory and the bricks, I'm just gonna make a couple more of those blocks. This could also be a lifesaver. In case we would run into a grizzly or something really dangerous, we could maybe just try to pillar up and then craft a lot of javelins and kill it from safety. Okay, also see my thirst bar really low. We probably actually have to get down there just to drink. And then we'll see if we can maybe make our way up there. I think there it's a bit less steep. That might be the way to go. Okay, in the river now there's actually also a current. There's like a proper current in the rivers that you can swim against or with. That's pretty neat. This is a normal swimming. And in case you're really desperate for food, there's also very often some fish in there. So as far as I can tell, this version of TerraFirmaCraft has the vanilla mob spawning. So the fishes would despawn and also quickly respawn again. So there's also the normal mob cap. I'm not entirely sure how it works with the hostile mobs, but I really suspect it's the vanilla mob spawning, so we might be able to make a mob spawning farm later. So almost made it up there. Can get really frustrating here with the block collapsing. Better have a dig against this. Okay. Yep, we're up again. So right now mostly trying to go towards northwest, I guess. Actually really down for south. I think if we go a little bit north, then we could also maybe see another biome. So in general, it's the coldest at, I think, set, minus 20,000 and the hottest at plus 20,000. Within those 40,000 blocks, you can have all kinds of different temperatures. So really up further north, there's probably ice the whole year. And if you go down further south, you should never see any snow. You can also check what's the local temperature here on the right. So here we got climate, tropical rainforest. Average temperature 18 degrees, and the current temperature is 9.2 degrees. Also tells you about the rainfall, how wet it is here. So yeah, the current temperature depends on the season and also how high up you are. Right now it's actually autumn, it's October, and we still have 9 degrees. I think here it could already snow if it's really January or December. But apart from that, I think it's really good biome to settle in. I just want to find maybe a better spot. Maybe you can find an ocean somewhere. Here's also something worth picking up. I found a lemon tree. Now, in order to get saplings from this, you actually need to cut down the branches. So just go down here and cut those branches. There we go. Got a lemon sapling. I'm gonna maybe try to get a second one. As far as I know, we can even cut down the whole tree until there's only that much left, and it would still recover. Not entirely sure though, but at least we got 4 saplings from this, so basically can grow 4 more trees, which is already pretty good. Just a couple blocks over from the lemon tree, I found another tree, a banana plant. He was a little bit dumbfounded because I don't really know how to get saplings for this, so I looked it up in the book. That's actually really helpful for a lot of things. Explains how the game works. So there's the getting started chapter that is really useful, but also more general chapter here, the world. You can look up certain stats of crops, fruits, animals, calendar and climate. Little things are explained in here. So for fruits, we can scroll through a little bit and see the banana tree. Temperature 17 to 35 degrees, so they really like it warm. But the important part for me is right now saplings are dropped from the flowering part of the plant, so the bananas here on the side. So we don't want to break the top of the tree to get saplings somehow. We just need to wait, I guess, and come back here maybe another time. Okay, then also saw here we got some carrots, but the inventory is starting to get really annoying. We gotta do something about it. Also probably want to cook my meat so it doesn't spoil as quick. And instead of eating it raw, when it's cooked, it also gives you a better nutrition value. Right now, protein does give you even a little bit if it's raw. I don't recommend really eating that. I think if it's cooked, it's way better. So we want to make a camp here, settle for a day, cook the food, make vessels out of the clay, and maybe also a jug where you can actually carry some water around with. This is also a really nice item, but yeah. That's something we can do at the beginning of the next episode. Yeah, as you can see, a lot of it is actually based on exploration at the beginning. TerraFirmaCraft without the automation mod is really exploration focused. But later I'm really looking forward to using a lot of the Create mod stuff to automate some of it. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the first episode. That's all for today. Thanks guys for watching and see you in the next one. Bye bye.